here I thought I had like some kind of home music playing. Elevator music. But nope, I had that muted. Sorry about that. Alright, I had to send out a Kickstarter update. Which is awesome. A bunch of stuff. All the things. There's a dog whisperer on my desk. Alright, I'm gonna do a couple of book plates again. And then probably once again pivot to a bigger project. I'll have to bring back that werewolf from last time. Yes, thank you very much. Oh, I was starting to get a little anxious. That was very... Yes, thank you very much. It was wonderful news. I'm very happy. Oh, I was starting to get a little anxious. That was very... Because at least I can now live with the knowledge that I can at least not be in credit card debt. Alright. Which I did change the, it's still wobbling? I don't even know what to do about that. I have an overhanging camera now. And, I don't know, it might be getting it from the webcam. But it still shakes a little bit when I move the desk. Yeah, there's a new stand that's not attached to my desk, so I thought we'd be safe. I changed I'm also trying to find camera settings now too, to kind of readjust everything. Turn off the furnace again. Yeah. White Knight, did you have fun windstorms all day yesterday? White Knight, did you have fun windstorms all day yesterday? Oh, I forgot to put this down. Getting just a little bit of wood grain picked up in there. I'm not sure quite how long I'm going to be streaming today. It'll probably be a little bit of a short one. Because I messed up my back a bit. We'll see how long I'm good at standing. I'm so old. And somehow this sketch is turning into Scruff McGruff. Oh yes, you were in Everett for the windstorms then. At least I would think Everett would get hit. It's not far from me. Oh jeez. So you actually, wait, you mean whiteout as in you had snow? Annual tea party. Oh, that's cute. I love it. Some of my friends went to high tea this weekend. There's apparently a tea house in Seattle. But I met up with them afterwards. And they were all dressed all fancy. It was very cute. I'm guessing yours was... Well, maybe you guys dress fancy too. I mean, I'd take any excuse to dress fancy. Yeah, the rain. Yep, this is Scruff McGruff. I've made Scruff McGruff. Yeah, hold on a second. I'm gonna turn off my furnace. Yeah, hold on a second. I'm gonna turn off my furnace. This is what I do for you, chat. I live in the cold. Not really. My office is still very warm. This is what I do for you, chat. I live in the cold. Not really. My office is still very warm. I don't know. But yes, I was just short story of what I said when they were very quiet. My friends with the high tea in Seattle, they were dressed all nice and fancy, and then I was pondering as to whether or not your group also dresses fancy for your tea party. Aww, that's too bad. People don't know how to have fun. You gotta take what times you can get. If you get any kind of excuse to put on some kind of high tea outfit, take it. am hoping that the print I chose is the extra for the Kickstarter. Since it didn't look like we were gonna hit the unlock the print tier or extra print, so I ordered just I was planning on having it be 3, so I went ahead and ordered one of them, just as like well, we did good. We did good enough to deserve an extra print, kind of thing. But I'm never sure if like people like the print that I chose, or if they wanted something cute. I mean, with the stickers, I can kind of balance it out at least, because now I already said I was going to get the donkey corn sticker for people. So there'll be that one cute one. But the other one's kind of creepy. I was going to try and do like a split balance between cute and creepy for this. Or I guess creepy would just be more like realistic. Alright, I've turned it away from Scruff McGruff to Pete the Dragon, who's now getting weird bunny overbite. Which I don't mind. It's like a weird little gargoyle now. Every once in a while, my brain's like, I'll let you do cartoony. So it's sad. I wonder, I saw that last time we were talking about Joann's was getting closed, but not all locations, and now it's all of them. Last time we were talking about Joann's was getting closed, but not all locations, and now it's all of them. Maybe. Like antique orthodontic stuff. That's be his jam. I got his jam. Maybe into this. Welcome to part of my oddity collection. This is a dentist tooth decay and damage model. I'm getting an echo of an echo and I don't know why. Apologies if that's what you're hearing. Okay. I think I got that. But, yeah, no, I love collecting weird, not like all old medical stuff, but like diagrams like that. Especially, like, this one's pretty realistic. And the clear, I love this old resin. Like, Like, this is just useful for, like, I've definitely used this as reference when I needed, like, a zombie bite. This is why I'm pretty sure, like, every artist is some kind of hoarder of something. There's some weird mini museum in their house. A lot of them is probably going to be anime figurines. Just a personal experience. I don't have that many anime figurines. I don't know if I have any anime figurines. I've got monster movie figurines, but a lot of my friends have the anime figurines. You like my fake teeth? I'm pretty sure these are fake. Yes, those are fake, yes. They're definitely molded on real ones, so they're pretty well done. Okay, I was trying to avoid collecting rocks or any kind of mineral stuff like that. Even though I constantly grab stuff from the beach. But now people have actually just been sending me stuff. And now I'm like, oh, well now I want this rock. And now I want that mineral. And I want this thing now, and I don't have room for this. I've largely been avoiding it. I've been largely behaved. I have like a little curio cabinet I need to get set up, but that's as bad as it got so far. Also, I'm surprised it's your husband with the skulls. If you're following me, because you know about my wall. Unless you've just embraced his vulturedom as your own. Well, that's great. From a fellow skull person, say thank you. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Ernesto, I knew he liked me was when he actually bought me an ostrich skull. But for the most part, he's just like, he waits for me to find something. And then if he hears about it in time, he might buy it for me, but... that's just, you know, giving me money. Being all like, go over there to Steve's booth and get that coyote. he was my bone guy, but I haven't seen him in a while. Apologies if I keep rotating away from the camera. I'm just like naturally gravitating towards rotating. Yell at me in chat if I do. Please. I do have to, now that well, once I get this camera fully adjusted, I need to take the outline of where the screen hits so I know when I'm pulling my drawing out of the view. Right, color time on Biscuit the Magic Dragon. Whichever backer gets this, that's going to be its title. Biscuit. I did try looking for a paler blue marker, Tombow marker, and it just looks like something they really haven't been able to make. Guessing like most people probably either avoid pale blues or use some kind of combination of like gouache or something with it. Usually, I'm pretty sure most all of this part's gonna be tan. It would probably make more sense to just go this whole way down, but I still like to block it in piece by piece, or like body part by body part, so that I can make sure, like along the way, just kind of get a vibe check for each section. Since, you know, you can add stuff later, you can't always remove stuff. This is actually starting to remind me of, did anyone watch, I think it was the second Chronicles of Riddick? was when he was in prison and he got his eye shine or whatever. Or did he have it already? I think he had it already at that point. He was in prison again though. Because that's where he got it from. Stupid lore. Anyways, there were like these scaly pangolin guard dogs. I think they just let them out at night to like kill people that weren't in their pens or something. But anyways, they were really cool looking. And they show him like kind of sort of befriending one, but I was like, it seems like such a wasted cool concept design. Like it was barely in there. It's the Chronicles of Riddick 2. Those Riddick movies are just like him making friends, friends dying. Vampire Prom. Oh yeah, I remember those. Oh man, I haven't seen the actual second Chronicles of Riddick in forever, so I'm a little afraid that if I go back, the design's not going to be nearly as good as I thought. You know, the whole, there's like a term for like the rose-tinted glasses over your past views or something. Because I loved that back when I was more inexperienced, so what if they suck now? I'll just picture them as the what if they could have been. Pomeranian versus the Predator. Are you gonna have the... Didn't they have Predator dogs? Or am I thinking of Alien? Either one or both of them had some kind of dog. I might leave this... I think I'm gonna leave this largely white. I kind of like this one being more like a tan. Regular rotation. I know I have them somewhere. I just don't know where. I have to hook up everything to watch a movie again. The Predator is the one where they're like in the suburbs? Or outside the suburbs or something? That was... Like, I'm pretty sure I've watched it, I'm just trying to remember which one it was. Should I give it the classic star eyes? Oh yeah. It's now got the anime eyes. Section 8 military guys, and one of them sent predator. Okay. So yeah, it must be the one I'm thinking of. Honestly, I kind of wish, it's like if I'm on my own, I will rewatch a lot of movies. That's not really an Ernesto thing. He likes to just watch a movie once and then be done. So I rarely ever get to rewatch things these days. Keegan-Michael Key's is in it. Oh, what? I am not remembering this at all. Alright, I'm calling Albino. I already forgot his name. It was some kind of dessert. He's gonna be done now. To the next. Alright. Markers away for now. Take up too much space. Spoil the dog for a hot second. Place. Girl. Hey, girl. Oh, yeah, sweet girl. Right. What to do next? Let's find out. I'll put these over here so I have at least some visual on the stuff that has been done. I'll move everything the wrong way. Alright. I might change colors for this one if I brought it down here. Raya, what are you doing? She just realized I put the cookies on my chair, not on my desk. She's trying to sneak cookies behind me. She's not, she's just sniffing them, but... Right, if you want a cookie, you gotta go to your place. No, place. Right, place. Touch. Down. Good girl. There. Being a screwball. I'm actually surprised she's being this calm. She got all cooped up yesterday with the windstorm. one cute out of my system, so now I get to pivot to creepy. Which, if you're wondering why I changed the pencil color, it's just personal preference. Sometimes I just feel a mood to change, and I don't really know why. I just get the vibes that what's cooking in my head is going to like it better in a warm color or a bright color. But you know, you'd probably assume that this blue would work better for something cute, but I'm doing something weird. Alright, so this might be a weird question. But I'm like genuinely curious. When you go to a show or a convention these days, what do you usually buy from artists? Like I used to have a decent peg on it, but things have definitely changed a lot recently. I'm curious. Small print stickers, yeah. And I unfortunately stopped carrying like my super small prints because I couldn't, like, they have a really bad margin on them. For, you know, cost of materials versus what you can reasonably get people to buy them for. I did recently find a publisher that if I do them through them, they're significantly cheaper than me trying to print them. Or than what I used to get them at, like, Costco Photolab. But I would have to order them in, like, numbers of 50 to 100. Which would mean I'd have to really cut down on the prints that I sell. I have to pick like a dozen designs and that's it. But yeah, I'm not sure about trying to get stickers. I keep printing more stickers, and I am having the hardest time figuring out how to display them. And Ernesto keeps getting annoyed when I order new stickers. It's like, why? The margins are terrible. I'm like, because they're cheap and people can afford them. Oh yeah. That's the one that sucks. I had several enamel pins in mind to do for like Emerald City in the next week or so. Like, I wanted to do the quagga. I had a quagga pin lined up. I was going to do a spotted hyena. I had a couple of different monsters. A really cool Fiji mermaid that I'm happy with. But the whole tariff nonsense has taken any idea of doing that off the table. I used to do magnets. That was what I used to do when I had enough that I could fit on my toolbox. The weirdest thing though, everyone would yank them off. They'd yank them off the display, and then I'd like, because I had, you know, nice, hard, or super strength magnets that were little, so that they were, you know, the least obtrusive and still working thing. But people would yank the stickers off, and my magnet would go flying somewhere. So I kind of gave up on. Yeah. I had like a sign that was like, please ask, or, you know, point out which sticker you want, and we have them in backs. I put. No one reads. Nobody ever reads. Like right now I use flashcard holders for like school teachers. I might try to set up I did get some of those basic cubes that like every con artist has that I've always kind of loathed, so I never got them. Or I had them at one point and got rid of them and then never wanted them again. But I'm trying them for the sticker display at least. Possibly. This is turned into a little bit of a pterosaur inspired dragon. I like it. Yeah, the card album, I also tried that once. And nobody will flip through it. Something about things being in an album you have to interact with, customers don't like. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm shooting down all your ideas. This is something that, like, me and my friends have been pondering for years, and we've tried different things. So I'm just saying, like, essentially what we've discovered from trying your suggestions. Because, yeah, I definitely tried the folio thing for prints and for originals, and, like, it's 1 out of every 20, 50, there's, like, more than that. Like, 1 out of every 50 customers will actually ask or look through it. See, I'd be curious if you somehow manage to get all your embroidery, like, up on a display, how it might change your sales. Yeah, you have to be very hands-on with getting people to look through it. It's gonna be really, really hard at like a bigger show because sometimes you're either crazy trying to restock things, or there's too many people. Yeah, that's why it's like we're always trying to find the best way to do things, but it's why you'll see even like the really big artists, like I'm not even gonna say his name because he's a jerk, but he's huge guy, makes like hundreds of thousands on cons. Jerk. He puts all of his stuff on, like, he's got like big banners with his art, and then he's got big walls of his art behind him. And it's just because people are so ungodly visual. Like, I don't know. You just, well, it's that whole, you've got to sell your booth in a glance kind of thing. So everything has to be big, bright, and in your face. So I am really hoping we don't have the same people in front of us for Emerald City like we did last year. We have like the same booth placement. So if they're also in the same placement. They were one of those metal print people. Companies, not people. So anyways, a lot of their stuff, they used to like pick favorite artists and work with them, and then AI came around, and then they started just selling like AI copies of people's stuff. They were in front of us last year, and they have a lot of money, so they got neon lights and it, like 2-story tall felt backdrop covered in these prints, and we're just sitting there trying to compete with that. Everyone just goes to shiny. And even if they don't like buy the shiny, their eyes are still distracted by it long enough to miss our booth before they turn it off. Oh, that's a good idea. The neck part. I'm trying to figure out entirely what I'm doing for this neck. I'm very grateful. One of my booth partners, because there's 3 of us splitting a booth, Kamakaru, Kate Grunenberg, she's very analytical when it comes to doing her booths. Like, she does research and compares numbers and times and everything and angles, and then I wait for her to come over to my booth and just be like, change this, change this, change it. Yes, thank you. The book got funded. I think Friday night, actually. But I was like, I don't think I can post an update at like midnight. I'll wait till I was figuring I'll wait till Monday, and then by the time Monday hit, we had 2 stretch goals, so that's awesome. But hi, nice to see you, like stones. Oh yeah, I added... There should be 3 new emojis. I still have to add more. It took a long time to get some of those approved for some reason. But I'm working on that. I still gotta set up the soundboard. I was planning on doing that over the weekend, but my weekend was unexpectedly busy. In a good way. Alright. Thank you so much, White Knight, for subscribing. You're my first subscriber! Yay! Which, does remind me, tell me if the ads, I, like, was trying to figure out how to set them up to be less obnoxious. So, if it's too much, let me know. I think there's a way to almost turn it off, but it'd still be there in the beginning. I had to fuss with things. But yes, I wonder... I feel like a lot of actually the backers are not going to be US based. So it's gonna be... 6 ads in a row. Okay. I don't know if I can change it midstream. Well, I think it's set so that subscribers don't have ads. But I tried doing it to like the less commercial breaks, but it automatically adds more time. So, I don't know if there's a way... I really wish there was a way to be like, I'll just take, like, no money, just put, like, 1 ad in the beginning. Okay. I changed the settings. It will hopefully... I don't know if it's going to start now, but it hopefully won't run 6 ads in a row. There is a way to, like, turn it to off to be essentially no money, but very few ads. Aw, I'm sorry. Is it too depressing? I can turn off Riot Cam. Alright, good. Just making sure. Yeah, when I was doing the emoji of Raya, I was like, oh, she's actually got a really dark face. Which was my problem with Xena. I could, like, never get a good photo of Xena. Because her face was, like, entirely black. But Raya's got some good contrast in there. Alright, slowly figure out where I'm putting this. Things are morphing a little bit since I'm, you know, didn't go into this with a plan. I love the void cats. Void cats are best cats. Yeah, when Raya curls up at the bottom of the stairs, I'm like, it's a little cinnamon roll! I'm a little mad that the camera's still wobbling, but I'm pretty sure what it is because my webcam cord is connecting it to my desktop. So now I have to figure out how to make that not wobble. As for knowing where to place the opposite horn, that just comes down to experience, and you will still almost always be a little bit wrong. Like, I've done enough 3D models of my stuff to know that I'm not bad at figuring out where to place other, you know, antlers, horns, and everything. But I'm not dead on either. That's kind of, one of the reasons why I'm like, I feel like every concept artist, or every artist that ends up doing an orthographic view for anything, should have some sculpting tool experience. Some 3D modeling and sculpting experience. Beyond the basics, like, keep it up as a hobby kind of thing, because you will know so much better how to translate things for 3D modelers a little funny that like now a ton of people are getting into it, but for concept artists are doing it. I think because of the job market shift and everything. But for a while, like I was like an anomaly for a concept artist that also did 3D. He turned out fun. At least I like him. I might, like, if I were to revisit him, I'd probably change the top jaw a little bit. Like, I don't think I was definitely not the one completely starting that trend. It was just weird because it was a little gendered. Like, for some reason, a lot of male concept artists knew 3D, but not a lot of women. And I was really confused by that. Well, I mean, not entirely confused, because I learned enough from learning how to do 3D. That it is a very male-dominated, like, 3D sculpting for the whole game industry in general, but it, like, that particular pocket of art was very male-dominated until very recently. Still probably is intensely so, but, so I think it was a lot harder for women to kind of easily access that education through, you know, connections or friendships. And yeah, now it's slowly pivoting. I'm happy about that. Like, everyone's trying to learn Blender now. I'm trying to learn Blender. Once this Kickstarter is done, I'll probably be devoting a lot more time to Blender again. I'm getting a few more people are learning how to sculpt because of Blender, which is really, really cool. But yes. There's actually like classes now taught by women 3D modelers and sculptors. I'm like, where was this 5 years ago? Oh, that's like, that's not just sculpting, that's kind of across the board, like concept art too. Like, Tara Whitlack is kind of the only big name female concept artist from back when I was starting to want to be one. Like now, like I'd say Carla Ortiz is, but she's kind of come up fairly recently. So like by the time I was in college, it was just Tara Whitlack. And I remember like we had some mutual friends, and I was wondering, I was like, where did she go? Because she wasn't really doing anything at the time I was in college. And I found out it was like weird controlling ex essentially had charge of all of her finances. And she was like essentially bankrupt, trying to rebuild her life and everything, and I was like, good lord. But yeah, I guess her agent was her husband, and something went down. Yeah, so she disappeared out of the light for a long time and came back doing schoolism classes to, support herself. I'm glad to see her, like, making a comeback now. But the point being, she wasn't really there when I was starting to try to be in concept. And, so yeah, when it came time to do Lightbox last year, and Luca contacted me and Bryn Matheny first for the panel. And Bryn kind of washed her hands of the industry because a bunch of dumb shit. She's out there living her best life right now. But so there was me, and I was like, alright, I gave him a list of concept artists, and he's like, this is a great list. I don't really know any of them, though, personally, so I ended up contacting a bunch of them, but I was trying so hard to get women on that panel. And also to just, like, get people that weren't a white dude on the panel. And it was hard. A lot of people are out. A lot of people are just burnt out. I almost got April on there, and then she had a schedule issue. I think it was a visa thing. I can't remember, but it was something. She's had a bunch of stuff hitting the fan too. But like, I did not want to be on that panel because I'm like, there has to be more experienced people than me. Yeah. It's rampant. And even when they try their best, like, I know creative directors that, even though the creative directors were men, they went above and beyond to get women and people of color to, like, be in there, to have voices, and, to get new voices in. But, like, when I guess it comes down to who gets the chopping block, or what the CEOs want, they get railroaded a lot, but I mean, it is. Well, at least it was getting better. Yes, that's my tale of how I did a Lightbox panel against all of my internal desires. And the sad part is like the games I've known that were women run, they've been a lot of the ones just straight up shutting down. my little demo sheet one time. There it is. I'm a little scared though of like, what's the industry gonna look like in 10 years? If, you know, the current kind of climate of, you know, women losing their job simply because they're a woman now, which is messed up. You know, there was barely beginning to be any women concept artists to begin with. And now most of us are fleeing. We're gonna have a whole new generation of somebody, or kids that don't have anybody they can point to. And that sucks. This is much less contrasty on this than it is on the camera. The camera's not picking up the bright greens very well. Yeah, I do like it. I like the olive in here. It's reminding me of like a bass fish coloring. Just don't know if it's reading that in the video. So I'm wondering, since you're talking about being print stickers, enamel pins kind of thing, I was thinking about, since I can't order enamel pins, of kind of sculpting and 3D printing like little charms kind of thing, and I could potentially attach a pin back to those, or just make them literal charms. And I'm wondering if that would be something people would be interested in. And then I could sell them either unpainted or painted. I don't know how many I'd be able to do painted. The problem is people don't really want to pay for the time it takes to paint something little. Still pretty washed out, but I think he's cool. Alright. I'm gonna do a little bit of a pivot to that werewolf from last time, I think. See if I can not mess that up. I'm trying to save a couple of book plates per stream. Just in case we get a new backer that shows up that has a suggestion. I want to make sure I leave some slots open every day, kinda. Move my teeth. I wish I was trying to get you to shift to be slightly less awkward. That's better. Okay, so moving book plates out of the way, because now I'm going to actually probably start using this thing. It's for this paper. If you're unfamiliar with it, haven't been here before when I've talked about it. It's synthetic paper, plastic, not paper. It's usually meant for alcohol inks, resin pouring kind of techniques. I'm utilizing it for sketching, so it's not technically its intended use. Anyways, the reason it's not really used for sketching is you can't really erase and redraw because there's like the tooth on here is synthetic, it's made up, or it's not tree fibers that are interwoven and will keep pulling up new layers. This is a one and done scenario. So you have to be very careful with the lines I put down, which is why there's lots of flowy, scratchy lines as I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. And then there's darker lines is when I start knowing what's happening. And then, and yes, I try to save erasing for like the last possible minute. And blending. Blending is easy to overdo as well. Yeah. Trying to see. Almost if I draw over here, I'm gonna be like, you're gonna see a leg in the camera. you'll see that I'm wearing comfy pants. Oh no. Okay, so I'm using this acrylic stand to rest my palm on so I don't accidentally smudge the pencils before I'm intending to. I need to remove my teeth. They're in my way. So I have an idea for this. It's going to be a little bit difficult to do because I drew these lines on the fangs a little too dark. If you were here for last time I was working on this guy, you remember that I was largely leaving the head untouched because I wasn't satisfied with what I had put down. And so I know what I want to do now. I'm going to do more of a zipper like we did down here. So now I have the problem of having to fight through my own lines from earlier. Just because I work on UFO all the time doesn't mean I don't occasionally fuck up. Of course I had to choose a very difficult angle to remember anatomy for. Go me. This is where it gets really messy. I'm still... gonna do half and half here. I did not. The practice one you're talking about? Yeah. I doubt I'm gonna get that far in this stream. So I still got potentially tonight to figure that out. All sorts of the wrong angle on this. This might be an instance where I just blend this all out and come in and try to fix my sins with an eraser. I mean, pretty sure I'm going to move this eye as well. Because this is more of like a stylized cartoony head for werewolf. And like my whole point of this is to show like the like the visceral mid-transformation thing. So I'm gonna make this more horror zipper. So I don't know if I want to have eyes in there at all, make it look like they're slotting into place. Yeah, maybe slotting into place. I was thinking of having them not exist and it's just a human eye. And like that works better for the lore, but not as good for the illustration, if that makes sense. No, my weekend was karaoke and D&D and trying to figure out new orders and issues and being a bit sick. I also did karaoke for the first time in my life. One of my friends was like, "You don't do karaoke, do you?" I was like, "No one's ever asked me." Is there still weirdly smooth jazz in the background? Because I'm not hearing it anymore. Also, I'm a little confused. I was supposed to have a thing that was supposed to tell me when ads are coming up, and it has not told me. Okay, I turned it up a little bit. Because sometimes a lot of these songs have very slow openings that are ridiculously quiet. Yes, thank you. You've escaped it. Hi, sweetie. Hi, sweetie. You're gonna beg me for attention, but not sit in front of the camera? Like, I will not be your advertisement. She's such a sweet girl. She likes kisses now. She doesn't like giving kisses. She likes receiving kisses. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Now you stitch. I found, I was like, I should have sent them to you, but part of me is like, I'm pretty sure you've seen this person. But there's somebody in Monroe that does like crazy stitches of like a beetle, and the wings are raised above the work. I found her on Blue Sky yesterday and I was like, holy cow. And then I was like, should I tell? Alright, maybe I'll have to, I know I started following them. I just didn't want to be the, you know how when you become like the expert on something and then everybody feels the need to show you everything they find about it? Stump work. And so she had a like a tiger pattern that it was like so many something nuts, square nuts. And then I found an absolutely crazy good needle felting artist, and honestly, like, embroidery is really cool. I don't think I have the patience for that. Like, I started learning crochet, and I was okay at that, but it's also one of those things where I'm like, I don't get enough of a reward fast enough to, like, stick with. And so now I keep looking at needle felting and be like, what about... Well, I'm glad that it won't be irksome if I suddenly start spamming you. Yeah, that's the other reason. I was like, needle felting, from what I've seen, is like angry sculpting. Like, you just get a bunch of wool and then stab the hell out of it with the needle. There you go. Since the Kickstarter is funded, I was like, maybe I can actually potentially go to Joann's and see what they have for their going out of business sale. I might try getting some of the stuff to do, I might try getting, like, faux fur and cotton batting for doing puppets, or, figure... I'm having a brain fart, is a term for them, but the little fluffy dolls, art dolls. And then I might see if they have needle felting wool. I have the patience. Yeah. No, that is exactly. I could stab something this many times. Are you sure you want to mess with me? I feel like that's what archery's done for me. Like, I don't have proof that I've stabbed something 10,000 times, but I've got a 40-pound longbow in the corner. Yeah, that's what archery is for me. It's both venting and cathartic all at the same time. So I'm very happy that if we're finally out of our cold snap, well, I mean, now we're in the rain, but hopefully we'll start to get to the point where I can start shooting again. Oh boy, could I use some cathartic venting. Alright, now the sun finally comes out. Just using my handy dandy Q-tip to blend some of this in. I do like the way I've got the lines going now. The zipper head is working. The teeth might be a little hard to figure out. It's not the end of the world if they're janky. Like I said, this is mid-transformation. It's supposed to look painful and janky. I don't want to rub out too much of the detail, but I do want the wolf skin to be darker so that we have a nice focal point. So I do actually kind of like the way I have it unintentionally set up now where it fades into it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have, like, the lower jaw is stitching in right here. That's what those are. Those are lower jaw teeth that I just quick sketched in there, so I kept the idea. But yeah. It's literally what's happening. It's all still rattling around in their flesh envelope. That's a lovely term for it. White Knight, I love having you in my streams. There's not a terrible amount of people in the world that talk like us. I'm just pulling in my the Blackwing, which is Blackwing started trying to do their own erasable pencils recently. They don't smudge out as easily as the Prismacolor Kohl Erase. So I've actually been using it to do things that I don't want to have smudged away. very nice being able to have someone in the chat that's like, I know what level of freak you're going for. A new tiny eraser. I don't know if I like that. Before I can erase that, I need to figure out where I do like it. It's like I'm pretty sure it just auto-corrected to dyes, but that's no canon. That's like my favorite stuff, is creepy things doing cute stuff. Which is why my, profile on so many apps is my Grim Reaper with the free cupcakes. Oh, that's terrible. No, I gotta... I mean, spiders aren't that bad. Spiders, I honestly can't think of any time there's been like a zoonotic disease or anything that's come from a spider. Like, venoms, yes, but like a pestilence? I think they're just too biologically different from us. And that they have too small of a surface area for like a lot of that stuff to survive, is my guess. But like, the more disturbing stuff is when you hear about how many like rats and mice walk around on the top of like soda cans in the back storage of a grocery store. Yeah, spiders... I'm not like terrified of spiders at all. I had a really big wandering house spider in my office for a while that I named George. But eventually George met someone, and they had babies in my ceiling fan. And I did not enjoy tiny parachuting baby spiders in my hair. So I vastly prefer spiders when they're outside. When they're outside, I'm like, ooh, look at you, you're cool and pretty. I've definitely woken up to one crawling across my face, though. Not having that. But this area isn't too bad for spiders. Like, when I lived in Florida, I'd wake up to giant puncture marks in my skin. And it was because wolf spiders were in the room like, because it was the room we were staying in was usually used for storage. But they came out at night and just bit me. Like almost every night, and I'd wake up with just puncture wounds and ugh. It's like here at least, yeah, there's house spiders and sometimes they creep me out, but they've never bit me. As far as I know. Oh no, that's scary. I've had that happen to me too. Like, cause I'm largely chill with spiders, so if they're like living on my mirror, usually, you know, the outdoor, I'll move the spiders outside, but I've definitely had them just suddenly, hi, drop down in front of me. Hiya. Hello, baby. You've already gotten many cookies. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Would you go lay down? Would you go lay down? No, you want it too much. Is it like a spider bite you've gotten while living here, or back when you were in Georgia? Or no, Louisiana? Where? You live south. Now I'm having a brain fart if I can't remember where New Orleans. That is not Georgia. What? Like I was very surprised. Louisiana, yeah. Like I thought so. I'm frazzled today. Oh, so both places. So it's gotta be like a genus then, like not just like a specific. You think it'd be some kind of house spider. Track of which pencils I got in my hand. One of these does not blend like the others. I just blend trading these out for different sharpnesses of the lead. Maybe I'll try to do Since I have the fur that I was working on, making it slowly fade in, or not fade in, but I never know how to describe this. Like, it looks like it's disintegrating in reverse. But I might use this side to kind of show how it comes moving in, so I don't have to like waste the previous shoulder that I drew. Trying to balance out having a good illustration with also telling a story about how I'm picturing this particular type of werewolf works. But here is, you have an example already of what I was talking about where you can't erase and redraw. So I erased this outer edge on this arm, and notice that I just went over here and shaded it, but they're still pale here. That's essentially the paper having lost all of its tooth when I erased. So that's why I'm saying this paper is a lot like working with ink. Like there's very little undos, or very little you can do to fix your mistakes. So you gotta be careful with every line you put down. Want something that kind of bridges the gap between these two. Probably just gonna do like a little. Not necessarily, well, bridge the gaps in terms of like line of motion. So I think I'm gonna put just a little like ribbon of saliva. Or blood. Whatever floats your boat. Now the question is, if I don't have an eye down here, I could make it where it's like, ah, that's the eye up there. And it needs to pop down into there. But that's totally the opposite eye. I'll have to think about that one a little bit yet. To finally do something about these hands, possibly these feet. Because I like the hand that's under the protector. this one is too human right now. So I like this one that it's a blend of wolf and human. Once again, I'm going to be turned into a little bit of visual chaos down here because I can't erase and redraw. So I just have to redraw it and then erase away the previous parts. It's kind of, it's roughed in essentially at this point. I'm just gonna use an eraser or a paper towel over here to hold this because I don't want to get my hand oils on this synthetic paper. This kind of style is why I ended up going with Natalie Hall for my tattoos. Her style is, she works a lot on the, I think she works on Duralar, not Yupo. But she likes to work on kind of the same materials, so her style ends up being very similar to mine sometimes. Like we'll be fairly close sometimes in like how we render something out. So I like that in the sense that I was getting a tattoo that like vibed with me that well. That was not quite like if I was tattooing myself, but like if I was tattooing myself and actually satisfied with the results. But even that, like only like 60% that. I still absolutely love her style. It is a little funny because I know for a fact that she avoids following anybody that has any style similar to hers because she doesn't want any undue influence. know she'll never follow me. But she is so fantastic. She does way more. I think her stuff is more stylized and like a lot different line weights than I have. It's just, since it's Yupo paper, there's a lot of like the blending and the smokiness that we both have. Like, I am way more realistic in my rendering than she is. We just share this medium, largely. Yes, if you're unfamiliar with her and this like smoky vibe is kind of the stuff you like, you should look it up. See her, she does a lot of like a lot of harpies. She's got like a wolf woman character. Doesn't make a total amount of sense why I would be there, but I like how this little bit of rendering here, like there's just a little bit of fur tuft coming in. I'm just going to erase away the edges. Because I'm confident I want to keep those lines now, so I can feel safe in erasing the edges. And suddenly you get so much more stark contrast of a view.
Figure out the recipe myself, fuck the know-how. Low profile, dope bounce, this low down. 3 degrees of separation from me getting dough now. I gotta get it and go now. About to eat, but first I'm on the road now. Oh wow, as it gets heavy, I'm out of here. Talking that talk, I turn you to vintage, I got away. I'm getting bread off the shit that I speak, that's the shit they too proud to share. That shit I'm proud of it. In and out of talking about it and living through it, I be kinda scared.
Alright, so this part, like, I don't necessarily need to put it in here, but I want it in there to kind of visualize stuff a bit more again.
I need to give me a ring. And they get to it first. Bada boom, bada bang. I'm still doing my thing. Gotta get it off the road, get it on the road, get it on the thing. Hey. Damn, I don't even know.
It's just showing the literal, like, zippering in of flesh.
Hey, meeting all my people out of town, but wasting time on oh, she got me down. My energy is only for the now. And Diva T can show me what you sound. Play it for you, hoping you be proud. I made this for you, hoping you be proud. You proud? Are you proud? Are you proud? Hey, ain't waiting on that shit no more. Let me go and make a smash for the promo.
That's going to be why I have this, like, I could use that as an excuse as to why I have this fur right here. Like, it could be zippering in over this. Making the lore bend to my will. I am the Lord. Nah, that just sounds That sounds like something I'd say right before I got smited. But like, this kind of thinking is how I ended up starting my monster manual, which is like my next big project. That I'm like, if this Kickstarter does well enough, I will actually have a little bit more room to work on that. But that's how it started off, was me drawing stuff and being all like, oh, what if it was cool, like this happened with it, and this happened with it, and this is where it lives, and like everything had a story, and then I was like, I need an excuse to tell people this story. Or as my old art director called it, main character syndrome. For my art. Not me. They're like, not every single thing you design is going to be the highlight. I am working on stats. That's not going to be like, I'm not going to put a ton of work into the stats because honestly, most DMs kind of do their own thing anyways. I'm going to have some basic ones in there. And then the biggest part is everything's getting like, it's finding attacks that I can actually use that aren't copywritten, and then making my own attacks. Because a lot of things that I'm like, they're moving in a very particular way, and it's similar to this attack, but it's not entirely. So it's a lot of tweaking existing stuff. But yes, I have to, I was doing the stats myself, and then I had people test them out, and I have a tendency to make very broken things. Hello. Hello, Calico 5. Just drawing totally normal werewolves. You like me for making broken D&D creatures? Or RPG, tabletop RPG creatures? I am trying to force myself for the monster manual to not have everything be a big broken boss. There will definitely be many big broken bosses, but there's actually a lot of just like, I guess I would call them fluff creatures, things that are just there to flesh out the worlds. So I'm surprised there's not... They're getting a little bit better about adding horror stuff, but for a long time, the monster manual was kind of boring. Ernesto's already volunteered to help me do stats. But I also need to, I would like to pay him / also get... I have several friends that DM, like a couple of them professionally. So I want them to help me knock out the stats. Got 2 seconds of dog. And then the other part is whether or not to do 3D with it. Which there's no way I can digitally sculpt everything. That'd be like, if I kickstart this and it like takes off, I will hire other 3D sculptors to help me finish it out. But like, I might launch with, you know, half a dozen. I was looking at acrylic standees. It's like, acrylic standees wouldn't be too hard. The only problem is, if I wanted to be hardcore, I'd have to sculpt the backside of every creature, but... I don't know if people care that much about if their acrylic standees have a background. Is that like ever a deal breaker? I might erase those little hairs back before I decided I was going to have the wolf fur threading in there. I'll leave a little bit on there. For now. I might go back and remove those, but for now it's good. Alright, but is my idea for this starting to read? Like, now that I'm getting more detailed, are you starting to, like, if you saw this, would you get what's happening? Good. Alright. So I worry because sometimes I get a little too into my ideas and they get a little convoluted. It's nice, that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm like, even after the Kickstarter's over, I'll keep up Twitch streaming. Like, maybe not 5 days a week, but like a couple days a week at least, because it's nice to actually get live feedback. That would be a funny name for this, though. For the piece to be coming together. Something. I am tempted because there's like this part, this is like the underside of flesh. There's fur on one side. Part of me wants to put color in there, but I think that's going to be way too distracting. So now it's thinking of how to render that. So it reads what it is. it's like this fur is... Oh, dogs. This fur is a little long for where it would be, but I'm pushing things a little bit so that I can get it to help the flow of the piece. Apologies for the dogs. I'm guessing the mailman's here. Raya! Need my wobble board. I guess it's been a fairly long stream, but I'm still zoning out a bit on stuff, so I'm gonna keep going for... Maybe I'll go a full 3 hours. Though I was also... I did leave the starting soon screen up a bit, because I thought there was a long ad break in the beginning. And I was doing my Kickstarter update. Trying to figure out what's going to be fur and what's going to be flesh. And sometimes I envy the people that do one of those completely planned out illustrations and it looks like glorious and detailed to the tiniest bit. I'm not good at planning like that. I guess it's just not how I art. That makes sense. I'm very much in the starting and seeing where things lead. I don't know if there's like a terminology for that. I still don't know, like, I keep on wanting to fill out this line. A pantser? As in by the seat of your pants? I'm just trying to eyeball if I want to do this. I think I do want to do it, but I don't want to do it as dark. I'm going to have it look like it's in the background. So I'm going to knock it back. I'm going to draw it in there and knock it back a little bit. Now the question is that frowned upon in the writing community? So I feel like it's potentially frowned upon in art. At least by art educators. Oh, yeah. I guess that kind of makes sense, because I think the people that probably would dislike it most in art would be, like, the people that try to do almost like a classical painting, where they literally grid wall out everything and pre-paint a whole initial, like, smaller painting, a study painting, and then paint the final one after. So it's like, they'll start out first as thumbnails, make it bigger, grid it out, they do a panel or the little prep painting, and then they do the full painting. And I'm just like, wing it! You were a pantser. So, what are you now? Because were implies changed. Does that desired effect make sense there? Where it looks like it's knocked out in the background. Switched obsessions. Okay. I might come in with a kneaded eraser and lift it just a little bit more. But I think it's giving a bit of the effect of, like, kind of tendrils skittering in the background a little bit. Right. So we've got... figuring out this arm in here a little bit more. It's like, usually if I don't have this acrylic thing, I'm working from the top down, so I'm not rubbing stuff. But since I got this acrylic thing, I can at least, you know, come in and rest my hand and not be smudging the whole thing up. So now we're going to try to do... flesh in these feetsies more. Yeah, we'll pretty much get this close to, I think tomorrow I can start doing the moon part. appreciate that once Zuko barks enough, Raya's well like, he doesn't actually mean it. Oh. Nope. I just got done praising you for not falling for it, Raya. Sweetie. Was it still, like, I knew the general shape I wanted the feet to be, but, like, even though it's kind of melting into a werewolf, right, or zippering in, like, I'm not going 100% wolf on the hands, as you can see. The feet aren't going to be either. Like, it's still going to be wonky. It's like, werewolves are, you know, they're technically like abomination kind of things. Like, no human could go and eat what a wolf eats. So like, if a human completely turned into a werewolf, or to a wolf, like 100%, went and ate a deer, and then turned back into a human, they're gonna get messed up. Because, like, our digestive tracts can't handle that. So, when I'm drawing a werewolf, I think of it as like a fusion of the two. And it's probably not going out there eating whole deer. It's probably being out there a little bit more like a chupacabra, like blood-sucking. Or only eating specific organs. Kind of like how killer whales only eat the tongues on big whales. So I have like their feet have like toenails that are starting to grow long and pointed, but not all of them. It's like a jumbled mix of it. Yeah, I like that foot. That is a fun foot. This ankle is too thick.
I assure him to ensure this suit ash proof. Special day in the booth. For me was Tuesday, couldn't see me. These knees be the booster. Collusion between the clan heads. Every other man dead.
Kind of dramatic going straight to that eraser, but I want that to be clean.
And now let's start again where we was. I'm through the buzz, same thing next morning. Eat after the 600 MC to move my money maker free till it's backwards. Grass buff me, sip sapper, smallest of infractions. Get me frowned upon. Yo, I blew my petty check on the adventure. Content with the dentures, ramble till it's craters in the enamel. Shit span through like 6 months. But you know what's in the me feel piss cup. Is my chances low because I like to endure as long as I'm out of the ways of danger. What's the problem with staying up? Can't wait till I'm paid.
100% erasing that out.
Then turn it straw.
Not terrible if I've got little ghosting of previous nails. Does relay a little bit of movement.
I saved the better setups for static. Like block that. I'm up to my eyes bloodshot. Or watch to the village drill. Put me down, kill the sound. Tires making cycles on the asphalt. Follow by a slam door. Reach for the drawer. Cold fingers. Nose to the injury. Adrenaline flow into me. I check the crack window. Think it's just a false alarm.
I have this horsehair brush that I use. I got it for dusting off paintings, but now I keep using it for dusting my desk like an idiot. So now I probably have to go buy another one that I can safely use for paintings. Alright, now we'll get this other foot here. If I can get that done, I think that's probably going to be a good place to call it. And then tomorrow, I'll try to see if I can futz around with the effects I was thinking about doing for that. And then essentially I'll do tomorrow will be like cleanup, which will be a lot of fine line work, outlining, getting hard edges where I need them, and then erasing details away. And then going in with some white ink to do super highlights. Right. The other thing here is my feet don't have to completely match. The other part of this being grotesque mid-transformation doesn't have to be 100% matching. So I know I gotta change it so that the cord from my desktop's wobbling the camera, but does it seem a little less wobbly this time? At least with this new... Oh, I'm actually having a hard time thinking of an angle on this. I want it turning away or turning to. I think right now I have it turning to, and I probably actually want away. So I'm seeing some lines. Try to remap that. Just rough it in. Because that's a really like light pencil line, so I'll be able to blend that in. And steady? That's good. Good, good, good. Alright, I'm gonna blend that just to kind of give myself a little bit more of a blank slate to work from. Just because sometimes if I don't blend it out, I'll find myself being influenced by previous lines that I've already vetoed.
I saw it when I walked, boy.
Part of me wants to go a little bit more whole hog on weird details, but I also don't think it's totally necessary. I might just do like a hint of a melting toe. Right, to change essentially every direction all these muscles are overlapping. It's turning outward. At least it still keeps the general outline, it's just changing that. Hip a little bit more. Don't necessarily want to erase the bottom here, like I did with the hands, because I do want to have a little bit of a contact shadow, just to ground things. So I might as well convert this into the contact shadow. I'm trying to figure out if I can migrate my drawing setup to the middle of my desk. You can actually hear me on the mic. And I have no idea how to get my webcam and this light to reach me. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna pretty much call that there, because I'll come back to this tomorrow once I've done a little experiment with how I want to render the moon in his stomach. So yeah, I'll come back tomorrow. I'll do detail pass essentially. So cleaning up lines, refining details, increasing some shadow values. So mostly I'll might have some gouache pen coming in tomorrow, and then I gotta pull out my kneaded eraser so that I can no worries, I've just been sitting here finishing a foot. But yeah, I'll come back to this tomorrow. Probably do the same thing, work on a couple of book plates, and then pivot to this. And then there are a couple watercolor paintings and illustrations I've been working on, or have an idea for, that I might start working on as well. But I like where this one's going, so tomorrow will be cleanup. Maybe try and add some kind of background. Honestly, I kind of hate doing Yupo paper backgrounds because they never turn out great. It's usually better to take it, scan it in like this, and then overlay it on... Like, I could just draw a background separately and just overlay it digitally. It's just really hard to do a background because you need to blend it out, but not hit this and affect all of your line fidelity. So... that's the main reason I just do like one character off on Yupo. But yeah, so tomorrow we'll come back. We'll visit our zipper werewolf some more. Thank you for hanging out. I'll be with the Absolute Worst Gamers tonight. I think we're playing Headliners again. And that starts at 7 o'clock my time. But that's in the channel below, one of the recommended channels below. Because that's Morgan's stream. I'm just a voice in the ether. So, once again, Kickstarter that is currently live. Got 9 more days on for my creature sketches below. And yeah, Stitch Zoom. I hope you have fun with that. Also, I want a picture of you at high tea, what your outfit was. I'm sure it was fantastic. But anyways, thank you for hanging out. I will see you tomorrow. Or later today. One of the two. Bye, everyone.